A coalition of Democratic attorney generals from several states has announced their intention to sue Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, over its access to federal payment systems containing sensitive personal data. 13 attorney generals have come together to take legal action, arguing that DOGE's involvement in these systems poses a threat to privacy and the constitutional rights of Americans. How will these lawsuits fare? Let's bring in attorney Jeremy Rosenthal, WGR legal expert. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, it seems a lot of what the Trump administration is doing is getting challenged almost immediately in court. As you look at what DOGE is up to, what they're doing, what are the legal arguments, and where do you think this takes us?
I think we have to start by looking at DOGE as a whole to kind of talk about its origin story, if you will, right? Like any good Avenger, you've got to have an origin story. The origin story for DOGE, it was created by executive order on day one. Donald Trump said, I am creating a new federal agency. It's called DOGE, Department of, Governmental Efficiency. And we have to understand what that means. So the president of the United States can create a new federal agency through executive order. However, it's going to be very weak in some ways. Take USAID, that is under a lot of scrutiny these days. That was also created through executive order by President Kennedy. So that, if you compare it to some other departments, the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, those are created by Congress. So those are going to have a little more teeth. An executive order is an order by the president that says, here's what we're going to do. Here's how I am directing federal employees to behave. Here's our policies, right? A good example would be DEI. The president of the United States, if he likes DEI, can say, I'm ordering federal agencies to implement DEI, or he can do the opposite, which is what Donald Trump has done. I'm ordering the federal agencies to take this out. That's a perfect example of where one of these executive orders really lives. So when he creates something like DOGE, he's sort of doing so, but not giving it a lot of teeth. So when DOGE people and DOGE employees and what they're doing is they're sort of showing up, sometimes announced, sometimes unannounced, to all sorts of different federal agencies. They're going to the National Oceanic and the Weather people, NOAA, whatever that stands for, right? They're going there and auditing that and trying to look for efficiencies there. When they go to the Department of Treasury, though, or they go to some security apparatus, right, the CIA or the FBI or the Department of Defense, they're going to hit walls. They're going to hit confidentiality walls. They're going to hit walls of these documents are top secret. When they go to the Treasury Department, right, they're running into people's bank accounts. How we pay our taxes, right, through the routing numbers electronically, how we pay our taxes, how we get tax refunds back, how we get our Social Security checks. And that's where some of these attorneys general are stepping in and saying, hold on, number one, you could abuse this, or you could screw this up, and we don't want that either. That's where you're seeing all this conflict, at least on this issue. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I talk a lot, but you can tell.
No, you laid out the groundwork so well on this to really understand. But how is a judge going to look at this, these actions, these suits?
What the judge is going to do. So an executive order cannot violate the U.S. Constitution, and it cannot violate a statute, right? Because again, go back to thinking DEI or no DEI, we're directing policy and we're directing the government to behave a certain way. So when they run into, say, sensitive data, the people at the Treasury Department are going to say, time out, we are charged by law with protecting this data. You don't have a clearance to do this. So that's why I'm not going to let you have it. And now that you're in my office asking for it, I'm going to call timeout and let a judge. If a judge orders me to give it to you, I'm going to give it to you. But unless or until that happens, I'm charged by law with not giving that over. So that's, I think, some of the conflict. And truthfully, I think this lands somewhere in the middle. And you've also got any inefficiencies that you've got at the Department of Treasury. I hate telling you this, are going to be there in 6 months. So So I think the judges are going to take the position of, let's call a timeout here. Okay, DOGE, what do you need? Right? And Department of Treasury, what can you give them? What can we agree on here? And then after what we can agree on, let's talk about some of these more sensitive areas. What can we do to protect this data in your possession, DOGE, to make sure that none of these fears come to fruition? That's where I see this going.
We have about a minute left. A lot of people are making a big deal out of Elon Musk not being elected. Is it a legal issue if he's appointed rather than elected?
No, it's not a legal issue. And it's a look, they made an end around here. He is appointed by this. That was intentional. I mean, Elon Musk probably had a conversation with Donald Trump saying, hey, by the way, Donald, I'm not going to sit in front of the U.S. Senate and get, pelted with cannon shots all day. Thank you very much. There are a lot of questions about this. I wouldn't expect Elon Musk to do this job for very long. He's got a lot of irons in the fire, if you will. You do have questions about conflicts of interest, right? Because a lot of his companies are contractors, and I don't know that he's going to say, "Hey, guess what, Donald? Quit paying me for SpaceX." I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna see that happen. So you open yourself up for some criticism on that front. But yeah, that's sort of, again, it's just an intentional sort of clever end around, the system to do it, but it's legal.
All right, Jeremy Rosenthal, attorney. Appreciate you coming on, sharing your thoughts on this.
You got it. Thank you. At least you didn't ask me about the Wolverines. I don't know why you guys. At least you guys beat the national champs on the road. Good for you.
We did do that. So we'll take what we could get. And a year ago we were national champs. If anyone still cares about that, appreciate you coming on.